people, I'll get that. For Americans, that's 544 miles. That's like running from San Francisco to San Diego. It's typically run in 7 days, which means each day you basically be running 3 back-to-back marathons every day. The people that run this race are crazy, but the people that run this race are these athletes that train specifically for that. They're backed by like the Adidas and by the Nikes, and there's a science to their running. This is what they do. They're these kind of honed machines. Well, there's a great story of something where the ordinary did something extraordinary. This happened in 1983, and I hope I can read this with the lights. In 1983, on the day of the race, a man who was safely described as aesthetically challenged, that means he wasn't very good looking, named Cliff Young, showed up. At first, no one cared about him, since everybody thought he was just there to watch the event. After all, he was 61 years old. He showed up in his gumboots and in his farm overalls with holes cut in his knees for ventilation. As Cliff walked up to the table to take his number, it became obvious to everybody that he was actually planning to run this race. He was going to join a group of world-class athletes and compete against them. The other racers thought that maybe this was just a crazy publicity stunt. But the press was curious, so as he took his number and moved to the pack of runners, the reporters started asking questions. I wish I had an Australian accent, but who are you? What are you doing, they asked. I'm Cliff Young. I'm from a farm outside of Melbourne. They said, you're really going to run in this race? Yeah, Cliff nodded. Have you run before? Yeah, many times. See, I grew up on a farm where we couldn't afford horses, and the whole time I was growing up, whenever the storms would roll in, I'd have to go out and round up the sheep on foot. We had 2,000 head, and we had 2,000 acres, and sometimes I'd have to run those sheep for 2 or 3 days. It took a long time, but I'd catch them. If I can chase those 2,000 sheep, this group shouldn't be all that hard. When the marathon started, the pros left Cliff far behind. The crowd smiled because he didn't even run like an athlete. Instead of running with their long strides, he appeared to run at a leisurely pace, shuffling his feet, more like an old man with a hip replacement. All over Australia, people who watched the live telecast kept on asking if someone would please stop this crazy old man from running, because people genuinely believed that he was going to die before getting out of Sydney. The professional athletes who were running the race had a carefully planned out strategy. It took almost 7 days to run the race, and in order to finish, you would need to run about 18 hours a day and then sleep for the other 6 hours a day. The thing is, Cliff Young didn't know that. When he rounded up sheep on the farm, he just kept running until the job was done. When the morning news of the race was aired, people were in for a big shock. While the other athletes had slept for 6 hours, Cliff had kept on running. Through most of the night, and by the morning he had passed them. Cliff was now leading the race. While the pro athletes were able to catch up with him during the day, when they stopped again to sleep for the night, they were staggered to see that Cliff just kept on going. By the time they woke up on the second day, Cliff had a huge lead, and many of the professionals decided, hey, we better run like this as well, and not sleep. But the thing is they had trained the other way. But they weren't used, let me restate this, but they weren't used to running without sleep. Cliff's steady, continued pace outshone their longer strides, which while faster during the day than Cliff's, they required 6 hours of rest. By now, a race that had only minor interest was becoming a national story. As Cliff drew closer to Melbourne, the reporters ran beside him, asking him more questions. You think you're going to make it all the way to the end of the race, Cliff? No worries, he said. We're practically there now. This is feeling good because I normally run in gumboots, and these tennis shoes, are so much more comfortable. Cliff, what do you think about when you run? I pretend there's a huge storm coming, and I have to get the sheep in before the storm. What's the first thing you're going to do when you get to Melbourne? Well, I want to put my false teeth back in, because when I took them out because they rattle when I run. As the nation cameras waited at the Melbourne finish line, everyone obviously still expected one of the pros to catch Cliff and win the race. Either way, if Cliff could just finish the race, that would be an achievement. You can imagine to their utter achievement as a 61-year-old sheep farmer came into view and then promptly shuffled across the line in first place. Not only did he run to Melbourne from Sydney without dying, he broke the race record by 2 days and became a national hero. He finished the 875-kilometer race in 5 days, 15 hours, and 4 minutes. That's like running 4 back-to-back marathons every single day. No science, no technology. He just took how life prepared him, and then he ran while others slept. He changed the way the race was run forever. And get this part. When Cliff was awarded the first prize of $10,000, he said he didn't even know there was a prize and insisted he hadn't earned the money, entered for the money. He gave the entire purse to the rest of the field. That act endeared him to all of Australia. Cliff was a humble, average Aussie man who undertook an extraordinary feat and became a national sensation. As I heard that story, the first thing that jumped into my mind were Beachbody coaches. Just ordinary people that are doing this extraordinary thing. Many come into this business without a lot of preparation, without, MBAs, without a lot of corporate experience. They don't look the part. They might not have all their teeth. They may not be dressed right. They might have muffin tops. Whatever it is. Whatever, it makes me feel comfortable if you do. But you've come into this business, and if you bring life's preparations that it's given you, and you make a decision to get yourself into the race, and then keep running, and being consistent, that's how the race is run. I love the part where it said, he ran while others slept. As I've looked at the most successful coaches in our business, they run while others sleep. They get up a little bit earlier. They work a little bit harder. They focus on the right things, the things that they know will bring them success in the business. And they keep doing those. There's a great book called Change Anything. Carl actually introduced it to me. And there's a piece where they study the most successful people. And the book's long, but there's one part that grabbed my attention. There were 2 things. The first one was, great people, successful leaders do this. They turn bad days into good data. They turn bad days into good data. What that means is that when stuff happens, and stuff is going to happen, they don't get discouraged, down, disillusioned. What they do is they get curious about what happened in that moment, and then they turn that into a positive. They get curious. And that's the one thing they do. And then they keep at it, and they keep trying and trying and trying, and they rinse and repeat. And they rinse and repeat. They try something new, and they rinse and repeat until it becomes perfected in their business. As you leave here, you've had a lot of things that have been given to you. And the challenge is to take those moments and then to reduce them down into actionable behavior. And you go, what does that look like? Because there are so many things. Let me help you. And you're going to say, man, they just took all of the wildness, all of the crazy high things that I was thinking about. But you know what it looks like? You know what the race looks like? You know how the race is won? You know what you do when you get out of here? You do those small things that are going to create success. And I'm going to just tell you what 2 of them are. One is, you will get your teams to Super Saturday, which is next Saturday. You will get everybody that's here, everybody that you know, and you will make sure that they get to participate in a Super Saturday and part of the experience of the things that we introduced here at this summit. You need to get some of you on these people. And the only way you're going to get some of you on these people is by getting them into an environment where great stuff happens, and you can share your vision, you can share your feelings, and the spirit that you have. That's how it happens. That's when you start to make those people matter. The second way to do this is, you know what's coming. It's Team Cup. Okay? Why does Team Cup matter? It's, you know, it's fun. We try to have some cool prizes, all those kinds of things. But it's the perfect environment for taking what you have learned here, whether it's the social media tips, whether it's the ability to tell your story, whatever it looks like. That is the perfect environment to take what you've learned and to put it into practice. To not do that is like saying, you know what, I'm just going to leave opportunity on the table. People need your help. This is a way where you can lift others. So I'm going to challenge each one of you to be on a Team Cup or to lead a Team Cup, and you're going, man, I'm brand new in the business. Big deal. Big deal. You can still lead a Team Cup. You can have fun, and you can be with 4 other people on your team that have never been on a team before, and you can start to create results in your business. Because that's how you build your dreams. That's how this is achieved. It starts on these small steps, engaging in the stuff that sometimes seems a little bit mundane, but it's mastering the fundamentals that will create great success for you. Now, I want to end where I started the other night, and that's this. We are a company about making people matter. Okay? That's who we are. We're more than just a fitness company with a financial opportunity attached. We're a company that's doing noble things. We're a company that is touching people's lives, and we're making a difference. And you never know who you're going to touch or when that's going to really matter in their lives. But we need more courageous people. We need people that, as I said the other night, are willing to bang their pots loudly. And it gets better when you're together. And so my challenge to you in this next 30 days is you will bang your pot as loud as you can, and you band together and make people matter. Now, I'm going to ask for a commitment right now before I bring Carl out. I'm going to ask everyone to think for just a moment. I borrowed this idea from Miguel Carrasco. He did this in his workshop yesterday. I want everybody to take out their phone, if anyone has one. And I want you to think, right? I want you to think about one person whose life you could touch, or whose life that you could make matter before the end of the month of July or the month of August. I want you to think about that. I want you to get that person in your mind. I want to have the lights turned down, and if you've got a person that you're willing to reach out to and help them make their life matter, I want you to put your light on, and I want you to hold it high as I bring out Carl Daikeler, and let's show Carl how many people care about others. Can we turn the house lights down a bit? And I want you to take a look around here for a moment. I'm going to get this. Take a look around, you guys. Keep those up there while I bring out Carl Daikeler. You guys are absolutely awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, keep them up. Our CEO, Mr. Carl Daikeler.
Wow. This is for me? That is awesome, you guys. Fair to see, it's blinding. Well, thanks, Jeff. It's been a great bunch of presenters today, right? It's been awesome. It really has been, and it's so weird, you know, they call this my closing, and for me, this is like really my opening, because this is where we kick off what happens for the next week, the next month, and the next 12 months. And for me, this is like my absolute favorite part of Summit, because I get a chance for my one-on-one meeting with you, right? So we close out, so the pyrotechnics and the music and all that is, now we get down to business. This is my wheelhouse. This is where I'm comfortable. And I get a chance to sort of refresh where I'm at with the business and hopefully where you're at with the business. So I want to set out. Now, Jeff just positioned, you know, how important the end of July is. We've got the special on 21 Day Fix and 21 Day Fix Extreme. Now you have the special on size. Like, there's a lot to promote. We can make July a record breaker. And then with the Team Cup, we can make August a record breaker. But not just for us, for you. August, like not January, February, March, right? The layup months, selling fitness, whatever here, have some fitness, have some weight loss, everybody wants it. But in August, you're gonna break a record. In July, you're gonna break a record. I think we can, but we're gonna do it like professionals. And that's what I get to talk about, to do my close, or what I consider to be my opening for the next 12 months. So let me give you a sense of, I'm thinking about trying to break down what do I do as CEO, and what do I do as sort of the leader of this network. And I've gotten some real clarity, both between what the vital behaviors mean and what we do, what we have done over the past 17 years as a company. And let me give you a picture, okay, of how the business cycles, all right? So the business started from the very beginning, 1998, going into 1999, with creating product. But it wasn't just, hey, let's create infomercial product, or just create, at this point, network marketing product. It is, we've got to create something that works. Because we didn't want to have something that we create a little company and sell a bunch of product and then run away and hide, because it didn't work. No, we want to create something that nobody has to apologize for, that people really feel good about. And that's step one for us. But then this is where we get into what's unique. Because the next part was unique to infomercials, and I think it's unique to what we do as a multi-level helping company. We show real proof that they work. We show your results, not paid people, not people who we had to gimmick into it, but we show real results. In fact, that's what we call, I think, our first vital behavior, right? Be the proof the product works. Now look, it was not my idea for me to get out of my comfort zone and like do size. That was not, there were days, I was working on that thing for 2 weeks, and every single day, I would be texting Michael, I'm like, we gotta come up with a better idea to show this thing off. This is not my thing. But it reminded me, my results with Power 90 helped start that. John and I going through P90X and helping show people what's possible. And you, as coaches, being the proof that product works. My getting up there and humiliating myself doing this thing, that is the proof that it's okay and that you give it intensity. That is a part of the business cycle. But you can't stop there. You need to compel people to get started. This is our job. This is the profession that we're in. We don't just sit back. This is why it's interesting. We do get celebrities from time to time who love our products. And they're like, you know what? I'm going to be one of those coaches. And that could be a nice little second income for me. But it's kind of difficult for a celebrity, frankly, to do as good as our Elite 10 or our top coaches, because our coaches engage with people, and the job requires compelling people to start. Some would call it salesmanship, but it requires connecting with people so that when they do start this, that they're around long enough to see results, because it's really hard to quit this stuff. So our job, my job as CEO, your job as a coach who wants to be successful with this business, is be the proof the product works. This really matters. And then as you compel people to start, you retain them long enough. This is why your challenge groups are so important. You retain them long enough so that they'll see those results. You got to get them through that first week, through that first bag of Shakeology, and they're like, are you seeing results? Are you feeling better? Everything moving better? And that's how you get them to the second bag. And it's not just about moving bags of Shakeology, but it's about helping people achieve their goals. It's about making them proof that the product works, because this is what happens next. Then you give those people an incentive to share their results and attract others. Okay, we have the t-shirt. Are you making enough noise about the fact that, I can't tell you how many people I met yesterday, and it's frustrating, I gotta be honest with you. I lost 65 pounds. It's blowing me away. I'm like, well, did you submit your results? Did you get your t-shirt? No, I didn't do that. Look at $2 coat. I'm gonna do that someday. That'd be neat. So, you know, come on, guys. We're not doing this we're doing this for the whole ecosystem to work. We want your results. We shouldn't have to do test groups. We should just, once a product's been out for 3-4 months, it should be just for the people alone in this room. The avalanche, the torrential emails and posts of results should be blinding. And by the way, that has a tidal effect on the whole business, because then other people, remember those stories I told at the beginning, at the opening, of coaches affecting other people, showing people that they matter, but it weren't the people who they were originally intending. Their posts were impressing people a step or two beyond the people that they were intending. So you got to get out there, you got to compel, give people an incentive to share their results, because when they post their results, when they get their t-shirt, when they win $500 in the challenge, and perhaps they see that, wow, you were right. I posted my photo about my results, and I got all these comments. And then you go, you're already coaching. Why don't you just sign up and do it? That's the way this thing works. Now, I don't want to, look, I'm not advocating that you have to get great results before you become a coach, because I also like the idea, this is a footnote, if you can tell the way my voice changed. I actually like it personally. If I were like a prospect out there, I would become a coach on day one, because it's that immediate part of the struggle, that when you're sharing that vulnerability, I think that's a very powerful part of the coaching process, that people are like, oh, I'd like to do that with you too. Okay, we'll do it together. So becoming a coach on day one is, I think, very valuable for people who are ambitious about it. But many people will be like, I am so not comfortable calling myself a coach until I've finished this 21-day fix, or I finished even a 3-day refresh, or P90, or whatever it is. So, okay, fine. But after that, your job is to compel them to share their results with these 3 incentives. And I'm sure there's more, but that's part of the job. And then it turns around. We go back to showing real proof they work. Your results and their results. And by the way, we get a lot, I get to see all these posts. We have the wall and VIP coach relations and all, you know, we see on Facebook, and we get emails and texts and all this stuff. And it's very interesting to watch the life cycle of a coach. Somebody who goes and they reach the very top, they become elite, they're recognized, and then all of a sudden, they have this different stage of being a coach where they're like, wait a minute, now what do I do? I just got great results. Now, oh geez, I'm sort of lost. The climb up was the exciting part, and now I have to, well, put this in a context of a basketball team that wins a championship, right? Winning that next championship is hard. Same thing with a coach. Once you've succeeded, you get to diamond, or 2-star, 3-star, 5-star diamond status, or elite status. It's very difficult to keep going. Right here, take a picture of that slide. That is the business cycle. This is why our ambition exceeds our ability to just reach ranks. Because there are millions of people that need us to show them the real proof that these products work. They need to see your results, not just from your first product, because life goes up and down. Now, I'm not suggesting lose weight, have a pizza, do it again, lose weight, have a pizza, do it again. But it is going to happen. You go up and down, and you do show people how you can maintain. And remember what I said at the opening. You do show people that you are the person in the community who is compelling people to and advocating that they take better care of their fitness. They do watch their nutrition. And that takes some intensity. Okay? So everybody who wanted a picture of this slide got it? Maybe I'll even put this one on my Facebook. Because, like, literally, I have that on, I just copied that from my whiteboard in my office. This is my business plan. And I'll tell you right now, we have products over the course of the next 12 months. I already know what the release schedule is for the next 12 months. So it's like, I'm super excited, like, oh my gosh, here comes size. That seems so like last year. I know what's coming in the next 12 months, and your mind is going to be like, yeah. All right, let me just tell you one. No, just kidding, I'm not.
Come on!
But it's good. Actually, three of them are so good. Oh. They're good. No. But here's what you're going to do for the next 12 months. If you want to be here for that, you're going to bring your intensity to this. You know, I watched the workout this morning. So impressive. How about those trainers? Jeez. Unbelievable. Like, seriously, they're human beings too, right? And they're posing for thousands of photographs. They're staying high. They're always smiling, and they're up at 4 a.m. getting ready for that thing. And it is not easy to carry a crowd for 10 minutes, and they did an incredible job. That's intensity. They're already rich, they're already famous, and they get up there in front of that crowd, and they go for it. You know what? I'm like back in the truck watching. I got all the shots, and he's sweeping. It's like the Oscars of fitness. And I'm watching these beautiful shots, and you know, some of you are like bringing it really hard, and other people, not so much intensity. Now, maybe you were out drinking last night. I don't know what was going on. But I'm telling you right now, if you want to be a professional in this, you want to be elite in this, you have got to find a way to find your personal intensity. Whether it's your workouts, whether it's your nutrition, whether it's just how you talk to people about these products. You need to have a deep belief, and you need to show in your posts. You can't be light about it. You have to light it up. Your intensity matters. That belief system matters. It is so easy for people to quit this stuff. It's so easy for people to dismiss this stuff as just some other business. Oh, you're talking just like my gym, just like my trainer. If they see you consistently operating with intensity, they will be compelled to start with you. They need to be able to trust that you're going to be there for the long haul. You've got to find that intensity. And that's where the reading, the personal development, that's inviting people. When we say invite, 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 we say it 3 times because we want each one to have the intensity of 3 invitations. You've got to compel people to get started because it's so easy not to start. I'm the worst. I am the absolute worst. I had to create $1 billion company to get myself to work out. I hate it. I don't like eating right. Like, I did this trip after last summit. Autumn and I think it was right after last summit, we flew around and hit a bunch of Super Saturdays. And like, each meal, she's like, it's really true. You do eat like a child. And with that same intensity that you're going to approach this business, that you're going to show people, you're going to be vulnerable with them, you need to keep people accountable to their goals. That's intensity. Right now, you need to know what the goals of your team are. Is that your team, their goals are? Dad, what is it? What they are. This is what I grew up with. Okay? Whatever he said. Okay? And you need to recognize their achievements. This is like the missing vital behavior. I'm so impressed with people that tag me on Wednesday night and Thursday when they post the new achievements of their team. And it's not just people who go diamond or 2-star rank advancements. When somebody loses weight, when somebody reaches the 100-pound club, when somebody finishes the 3-day refresh, tag me, man. I want to see it on my page. Or however you can get it out there, just put it out there. It's not about my page, it's about your page. But you want to recognize those little behaviors. Now look, as your business scales, you're going to do a little bit less of that. You're going to do a little bit less of the fitness acknowledgement, more of the, I signed a new coach, or that coach became emerald, or here's my list of Success Club achievers, or here's my group of people who are becoming team leaders. Like, you're going to start to upgrade the level of recognition, but you need to do it with intensity. That's an important component of this business, and it's something that we don't preach enough. But you've got to find a way to do it. It's one of the reasons that you've got to keep doing your personal development. Okay? And I'm giving you all an assignment, and it's kind of I don't know if it's fun. If you do the personal development, there's a book that I'd like you to read by Brian Grazer. It's called Be Curious, or it's called, hold on, I wrote it down. It's A Curious Mind, The Secret to a Bigger Life. Let me just give you a taste of what he says in there. Curiosity is what creates empathy. To care about someone, you must wonder about them. Curiosity will conquer fear even more than bravery. The reason that I bring up this book is I say a lot about, and in fact, when I talk on like the Success Starter call, or I have one-on-one conversations with coaches, and particularly it happens toward the end of the month. People are like, wow, I'm really stalled, or I'm scared, I'm not a salesperson. Thank God. I don't want a million salespeople. I want a million people who are curious about people. But let me give you a little bit of sales technique for a second. Think about the last time you bought a car, whether it was a good experience or a bad experience. And I would bet, okay, so the best salesman that I've ever met, the two of them are sitting right in front of me here, my Uncle Kenny and my dad, Ray Daikeler, okay? Unbelievable salesman. Fast talking, trick you into anything. No, what they're great at is listening, asking questions and asking questions. And when anybody else would have stopped asking questions and would stop with curiosity, both those guys will continue to ask questions. And they'll be able to answer, like when they hear something from the person that they're talking to, they'll be able to answer them because they also had curiosity about the product that they represent. And I watched this all while I was growing up. I was surrounded by great salespeople. And same thing goes for you in this business. So think back to the last time you bought a car. Was it a good experience or a bad experience? If it was a bad experience, it's probably because the guy was not curious about you, the person was not curious about you and didn't explore what your needs were. He or she was more interested in selling whatever the special was, whatever they had the incentive with management to try to get rid of. So being curious is how you show somebody that you care about them. But also, the best salesman, the most successful, the one that has the most compassion, is the one that knows enough about their product that they can connect what you're saying that you want, or what your prospect is saying they want, with the thing that they represent, which takes incredible creativity and awareness of what's going on. So we just launched Beachbody Performance line. How curious are you going to be about what's really behind those? Are you going to watch that webinar? Are you going to watch those videotapes? Are you going to try that product? How curious are you going to be about the Shakeology Boosts? Doesn't mean you have to use it the rest of your life, but if you want to represent it so that you can help people achieve their goals to lead a healthy, fulfilling life, you need to be curious about that product. You might never want to try to do size, but you better be curious about it and understand it and get to know it better. You might never want to use online streaming to access your products, but you better be curious about it to understand it if you want to be a professional in this business. You have to understand your product if you want to connect it with people. And then here's the thing. You be curious with them. You've got all this information now. You know it better than anybody. So when they say something that's like, you know, my energy is sort of funky. I never have energy in the morning to work out. Like, I always really drag. So are you going to know which energy product is right for them that we represent? You're going to be like, oh, Beachbody Performance Energize, that's the one that's going to get you up. Or they say, you know, I don't have a problem working out, but then I get tired throughout the day. You're going to know that Focused Energy, the Shakeology Boost, is the one for them. The point is, you have such power at your hands. Like 200 million people overweight or obese, over 300 million people in North America that we represent right now, and all of them, every single one of them, has a physical or a personal situation that we can address for them in this catalog that we've now represented. From the fitness products to Beachbody On Demand to Shakeology to Beachbody Performance to the Shakeology Boosts. But you have to know about them. You have to know about which fitness programs are right in which case. You've got to be the one that does that work. You've got to be the one that's curious about it. Let me tell you one little story before I move on from curious. And I'm telling you, this book is just, it's awesome. This is it's by Brian Grazer, who's a producer, and he talks about how curiosity, and it's from the first page, it is just a fascinating book. Great personal development, because he talks about how he got his break in the movie business by being curious about a conversation he was overhearing outside his apartment door when he heard some guy say that he just left a job that was super easy. And he was like, well, that sounds like a good job. He got on the phone and said, I hear you need a new legal clerk. And that was at I think Warner's studio. But one of the guys who has inspired me about curiosity more than anybody in the last 2 years is my son Danny. This guy, and here's the thing, when you're curious, you are also probably a pain in the ass. Because our teachers, our co-workers, certainly our bosses, they don't want us to be curious. They just want us to do the job, please. I was right in the middle of Tetris. Like, they want anything but more questions. But if you're curious, like this little 7-year-old is, you are going to affect lives in such a meaningful way. A couple of examples. So they were teaching Danny, he's part of this little school, and he's got like, there's 4, 5, 6 kids in his class. And they're going over marine life. And they were starting to talk about jellyfish. And the way they move, and they showed a little video of the way they move. And Danny was like fixated. And he, like, the kid, okay, so they did 20 minutes on jellyfish, time for a recess. And Danny's like, oh no. Why do they move that way? Can they go, are they in freshwater or saltwater? And then they started to talk, and the teacher was like, well, look, we're all going out to recess. Well, you know, we'll do that another time, let's go out to recess. It's snack time for me too. And Danny's like, no, I need to understand, what are all those tentacles that come down? And how can I tell if that's a boy or if that's a girl? And on and on and on. And while the kids were outside and then came back in for reading time, Danny was still on jellyfish. And that teacher just sat with him and did jellyfish. That's example of curiosity. Now what's interesting is, later when they went back to curiosity, or went back to jellyfish a day later, one of the kids was really confused. And Danny was like, took it upon himself, you know, I was really confused about that too. But then I spent some extra time with teacher Kim, and here's what she told me. And he was so proud that he could teach his friend that thing that confused him too. Because you can't tell if it's a boy or a girl. So he was so proud about it. That's the same thing that you can do as you're going through. You're going to say, size? Oh my God, I wanted to click that 1,000,000 times. This part, I just can't do it. Like, you're going to be able to say that to people. But you got to be curious enough to know about it. You got to be curious enough to know, why does Beachbody Performance Energize make my fingers tingle? And it turns out that it's circulation. You'll find all this out if you watch the webinar. You got to be curious. And then you're going to be rewarding somebody else when you share that information with one of your peers. That's being a great coach right there. Another story about Danny. So after they did the jellyfish thing, he was so fascinated with them. They were working on their year-end projects. And literally, they're teaching the kids Keynote, right? Same kind of program that these words are coming from. So, you know, they started to teach how to type. This is first grade stuff. So, you know, the teaching, here's how you do Keynote, here's how you put the words and you position them and stuff. And Danny's like, Vert. And the teacher's like, oh no snack time. And it's going on, and he's learning about things, and you drag this over, and how do you change the color of that? And how do you make this transition different? And oh my gosh, I didn't know you could make it wobble like that. That looks like water, that looks like fire. And oh my God, that's really cool. So we get to the presentation day, like last week of school. And the kids are going through their presentations and just learning about sandpipers, and it's very interesting, and the nice little words come on. And then Danny's thing comes on, and it's like, fire. Jellyfish. Because he was curious, and he helped the other kids in that class learn Keynote as they were going through their thing. Like, that's what curiosity can do. That's what intensity can do. So that's your reading assignment, and that's the way I want you to approach the next 12 months. When we come out with these new products, don't just go, oh, I went to Summit, check, I did it. No, you got to dig deep. If you want to be a professional in this, if you want to create real wealth out of this, because there is no foregone conclusion that you will be rich from this business. And I guarantee there are people in here that will post on my Facebook page, that's just not working for me. Of course it's not. Because you weren't curious enough about the prospects who you could help, you weren't reaching out to prospects courageously, and you didn't understand the depth of this catalog and how it can help people. And you got to be organized. People ask me what I would do if I were a coach. And what I would do is, I would create, kind of like I have in my office, I got all these whiteboards around, but I use them as my dashboard, okay? So I've got my key metrics, what I measure myself on, the revenues of the business, coach count, turnover, retention in Shakeology, number of members in Beachbody On Demand, number of employees, average revenue per employee, blah, blah, blah. This is the stuff that I have on my big whiteboard, and I got our product pipeline, key dates, and I also have on this side how the business basically works, new initiatives, and so on. But I also have specific goals for the people that report to me. So if I were a coach, I would have the same thing, but I'd have it right in front of me. I have this really cool setup. My parents can tell you, when I was my room, when I was 7 years old, was decorated like an office. I got this beautiful desk. You couldn't even get your fingers to the side, it was so wide. I had this banker's lamp. Oh, I love that thing. Anyway, sorry, a little bit of going back there. But the point is, I would have my setup same way, and I would know who are my coach prospects? Who turned me down? And who did they refer me to? Why did they turn me down? Why did they say yes? What is their goal? Who is a coach right now, and where are they right now in their in terms of Success Club? Right now, it's July, what is it, 18th, 17th? 18th? Okay, July 18th, got a couple weeks left. You should know by the end of the day Monday, I'll give you a day off tomorrow, so by the end of the day Monday, you should know where your personally sponsored coaches are in terms of Success Club, and it better be on a piece of paper by your computer. You need to know that because the people, especially, there are people who have no Success Club points who you need to call. Remember, this is called being organized. Remember that goal you said you had about putting your kid through college with this job? It is not going to happen unless you start to be more curious and you start to invite people and you learn about what we all learned about. You better be at Super Saturday, and you better be there with the Success Club point. And there are people who are 1 point away from achieving Success Club 5. You need to know that. So leading up to the end of the cycle, the end of the month, you want to be on it. Come on, one more point. Who do you know? Who can you help? Be more courageous. Be more curious. Being organized is how you know where the levers are within your business to get to that next level. Remember, I started this saying, this is our business meeting, you and me. I'm not here to motivate you. What I'm here to do is direct your energy towards what makes you successful. Remember what I said to Jeff when we kick this thing off. Let's help these people achieve their goals to lead healthy, fulfilling lives. That means I want you to create wealth for yourself. What I'm saying to you right now is this is what you need to do if you want to get to that next level. You got to be organized with your business. You got to know where you are. If I called you up at the end of the day Monday, I think I might just call some of you. And if I ask you, tell me who's a point away from Success Club, you better know. You're in trouble. Click. Wrong click. Here's the trick. You can just make it up. I don't know. Be organized, right? Be curious and then run your business like a business and be organized. And then I want you to be ambitious. Stop holding yourself back. Mickey Fernandez, I love it. She says, I found out. She's a classic. I was a holder-backer. She's like, I'm not going to be a holder-backer anymore. We had a meeting about in Cancun about, let's make sure we're really addressing the U.S. Hispanic market. Let's make sure that we're helping Puerto Rico develop a business there. And my Hispanic leaders were like, we've been holding back. What are we doing? Like, they weren't like, oh, well, the company's not good enough. They gave us some good tips. We got some stuff in development. But they also were like, we got to get more ambitious about that. And that's why we made the decision. I'm going to Puerto Rico on Friday. I'm going to Miami Saturday. And I'm going to New York Saturday. And I'm going to Indianapolis Saturday. It'll be a layover, get a piece of pizza here, and a layover, piece of pizza, and a piece of pizza here. Pizza day. My goal is 1 million coaches. Like, that has been my goal for the last 7-8 years. Like, I want 1 million coaches in this business. My ambitious goal is 5 million coaches, but that's going to require opening up in some new markets. But in North America, I think we can easily handle 1 million coaches, and we're just around 340,000 now. So, but to be there, I have another thing. On my whiteboard, I have that business cycle that I told you about, and underneath that I have 100 million members. out of 300 million people, I want 100 million members of Beachbody On Demand. And I got this great digital team working on innovations that's going to make it easier for us to communicate, easier for us to get people started. Oh, such good stuff coming. Ooh, I almost slipped. So good. It's one of those things that I watch what you do and I watch what you say, and I'm like, ooh, I see what you want. It's coming, it's coming. So good. It's great. So I want 1 million coaches, 100 million customers. I want to break a record in July as the biggest month in the history of this business. And guess what? I want to break that record in August. And you know, I get people around the company, and people are like, "You can't break a record every month." I'm like, "What? Who said that? Could somebody take their parking spot?" Absolutely, we can break the record every month because we are tiny in terms of the problem, the $1 trillion health and wellness problem in this country. $1 trillion problem. We are like just a little drop in that ocean, and we just got to get on it. And we have to stop holding ourselves back and going, Success Club 5, did it, let's go to the pool. No, we keep working. Top coach, did it, time to take some time off. No, that's when things start. That's when you've proven that you can do it. Do you think that in just as a situation, sometimes I find myself like, ooh, man, I must be tired. Because I just feel a little lost right now. And it's when I feel like that. I felt this way yesterday afternoon. I'm like, I'm just tired. And I'm like, you know what? And I went straight to the IJM booth, and I stood next to that booth for pictures, and I asked people to give while we were doing pictures. Like, I feel like the more engaged I am in what I'm doing, the more ambitious I am about what I'm doing. And every time I feel like, oh, maybe I'm a little bored, maybe I'm getting a little tired of this, that means I'm disengaged. I'm disengaged with my potential, and I'm disengaged with my mission of helping people achieve their goals. And shame on me when that happens. I shake myself out of it, and I look for somebody who I can directly get on the phone with, or who I can directly post on their page, or do something very direct, very connected, not macro. Let me try to be the wizard. Let me just try to be a human being that tries to connect with people directly. That's where my ambition comes from. And I need you to think, how can you break your record every single month, if not every single week? The minute you nail the month, and you want to put everything you can into that month, is the minute you start thinking about, how am I going to break that record this month? Not how you're going to break your financial record. That's cool too. That's fun. But how are you going to break your record in terms of people helped? How are you going to get more people to open up their challenge groups? How are you going to get more people to recognize the success of their people in their challenge groups? How are you going to get more people to submit their results, get their t-shirt, become coaches? How are you going to get more people to do that? Every single week, we are sitting, literally, all of us, you didn't know it was underneath the Bridgestone Arena, but we are sitting on top of this vein of wealth that is outrageous for all of us in here. It's outrageous, the potential that we have. If we get out of the way of our expectations, our limitations, and we start to go, how deeply, how much impact can we have on people's lives? How much value can we create for people? How curious can I be about this product line so that I can represent it with, at a snap, I know, oh, I know what product you need. This one I'm thinking about trying myself. Let's do it together. I'm going to do a 3-day refresh in a couple weeks. Why don't we do it together? Total ambition. That's the way to go about life. That's the way to feel your intensity. Be curious, be organized, be ambitious, and help people. That's what comes out of all of this. Yes, I'm approaching this like a business. Very business-like. It jumps me out of bed. But not a single day goes by that I don't approach this business without the knowledge and this heart-exploding sense of what kind of contribution it's having to people around me. People that work for us, this amazing 788 people that work at headquarters, this amazing 340,000 coaches who are, some of them are dipping their toe in and thinking, I can be the boss of my own company, stay at home with my kids, pay off this mortgage, get out of this debt. People who are like 100 pounds overweight, oh, do you think I failed at everything? Maybe I can do this? People who are like finally achieving something great with their life and had no idea that they could do it. Every single day, I connect with that feeling. I don't check my bank account. I don't check the wealth creationometer. That's a thing. I look for that pulse. And I feel that pulse and I feel rewarded by it. So tonight, when we get over to that big field over there, and we're going to be celebrating so much, what I'm asking you to celebrate is the fact that it's true. Everyone does matter. We're celebrating the success that we've achieved in the last year. It has been outrageous. Like, we are the talk of an industry. Nobody understands how you can build a network marketing company without putting wealth first. When we started this thing, that was the advice we got from everybody. Put wealth creation first. And from the founders to the early coaches that we had to our faithful and loyal customers, they were like, please don't put the wealth first. And we didn't. And we've shown that everybody matters and that the real value here is helping people achieve their goals. So that's what we're going to celebrate tonight. It happens at 8 o'clock. I hope you're all there. It's going to be a great night. Michael's got crazy stuff that's unbelievable what he does. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But last thing I want to say, we got 12 months, guys, and we're going to be back right here. Be ambitious about what you're going to do for the next 12 months. Thank you for coming to Summit. It's been a real pleasure. Love you guys.